Okay, so basically, my faith story starts when I was 19. So I grew up in the church. Like, I was probably born and raised in the church. Like, the first, I think they said, like, when I was adopted, like, when I was in foster care, that I was christened as a newborn. So I think that I basically was born and raised in the church. Like, that's what I think. Okay, so you gotta come and sit over here. Oh, it's all good. Okay, thank you. So, yeah, I was born and I'm thinking I was born and raised in the church. I'm thinking my foster parent. I'm thinking that she actually, like, took me to church because they said that I was christened when I was in foster care, and she was the only person who had me from birth up until adoption. So, she had to have taken me to church. I know when I was with my grandmother, she definitely took me to church. Okay, so my grandmother took me to church. Um, but I wasn't a believer. Like, I did what she did. She told me, when I clap my hands, you clap your hands. When I stand up, you stand up. When I sing, you sing. Basically, just teaching me how to be a good leader. Okay, so these are the clothes that I have to do right here. Hey, hubby. Okay, he's focused and he has on his headphones, but those are the clothes that I have to do. So I'm sorting laundry for a family of 8. So I have to stay on top. Everybody has their laundry day, but we've been slacking on laundry. Like, okay, so um yeah. So because I've been slacking on laundry, like, whew, I'm catching up. Okay, so my grandmother, she basically raised me in church, but I never started believing in God until I was 19 years old. From birth to 19, I had no real relationship with God, and I was sinning. I was like doing drugs. I was fornicating, lying. I had no real good moral character. Like, I was just doing whatever I wanted to do. This is my 4-year old. You want oatmeal? Okay, so tell daddy. Can you get him oatmeal? Sure. Okay, so I was just doing whatever I wanted to do. And so when I was 19, I started college, and the first lesson that my professor gave me, who are you really talking to? Um, Whoever is listening, whoever this is for. So I started. He gave us a excerpt from Matthew in the Bible, and my professor was an atheist, and so he basically gave us that text. It was a literature class, and he basically gave us the text to check and see, like, um, to like analyze it, annotate it, things like that. And he wanted us to basically disprove God's existence. And so that began to basically just have me question things, and have me like question, who do I believe in? Why am I going to church? Why do I clap my hands? What is my purpose for being here? What is the purpose of my existence? And so I went on that journey. I was questioning God for maybe like 3 weeks. And then I heard a small, faint voice. And the voice said, it's a faith walk. So in other words, it's my choice to believe. I can believe or not. He's not forcing me to believe in him. He's not forcing me to accept his existence. I have the choice. And so I decided when I was at 19 that I choose God. I don't know. I can't prove that he exists. I decided to believe it. I can't prove his existence. I just decided to believe it at 19. And I realized that the trees, the dirt that produces the trees, and the same dirt that produces apple trees and peach trees can produce carrots and cabbage and lettuce. And so I started realizing, and God started showing me that the evidence is all around us. His existence is all around us. It's just, are my eyes open? And once I decided to believe in him, then my eyes became open. I became aware of his existence through what is around me. Like, he's been talking to me lately about his existence even now, and I'm 34. So I've been on this journey for quite some time of actually believing in God and serving him and choosing him. So now he's been showing me, do we see emotions? We do not see emotions. We don't see love. We don't see anger. We do not see joy. We do not see peace. We don't see these emotions, but there's evidence that they are there, and it's made manifest through our actions. So if we're joyful, we're happy, we will do things that make us that express that joy. If we are angry or frustrated, we will do things that express that emotion. So those are the expression, is the evidence of what we feel. And God was showing me the expression of the trees, the expression of the vegetables and the fruit is the evidence that God actually exists. So evolution is real when I see you. You're hilarious. What's wrong with your nose? You guys are so hilarious. I am so grateful that I am confident in who God, the creator of the universe, has made me. So I honestly, like, you guys can say these things, but yeah, it really doesn't matter. Anyway, so I definitely believe that God is real. He exists. I believe in the things that he has done. Just recently, just this past Sunday, I was actually ill for like a full 24 hours, and then I still did not feel well. Even going into church, and I received a miracle. I received 2 miracles in one day. Um, who can explain a miracle? Even doctors, when they are not able to explain someone just miraculously being cured, they call it a documented miracle. They can't explain it. So even doctors get to a point where they are astounded. They get to a point where they cannot explain the unexplainable. And what they say is, it's not magic. They say it's a documented miracle. So going back to when I was 19 and I had the teacher that challenged me, that professor that challenged me and asked me, well, he didn't ask me, he gave us a paper basically saying, okay, prove to me that God is real. And he used a biblical text. God told me I have a choice to believe or not to believe. Not only that, when I conceived out of wedlock, I had no knowledge about life and the preciousness of life, and how beautiful life is, and how life is created from a seed. Um, so even the complexity of that, it also further solidified God's existence. Hi, baby Win. So how can evolution create such intelligence? How can evolution say reproduce yourself and then give us the genetic map to actually fulfill that reproduction process? And each species has its own reproductive system. I do not believe evolution can create that. So when I had my child out of wedlock and my son grew in my womb, and then I gave birth to somebody that was real, it was a soul, it was a human being who had its own personality. How does evolution give personality? How does evolution give spirits? Where do these different personality types come from? Where do these different spirits come from? Where do um these different I don't know how to say it, different personalities, different spirits, these different um interests, where do our interests come from? It has to come from a master designer who is the intelligent being behind all of our existence. What about animals? Animals have their own personalities. Animals have their own ideas. Animals have um their own personalities, but yet they know that humans are in control of them. They know that humans have dominance and dominion over them. How did they come to that knowledge? It is actually an internal understanding. And I think that internal understanding was given to them by the master designer, an intelligent being. Alligators, as strong as they are not out here building homes. Elephants, as strong as they are and as hefty as they are not out here carrying bricks and building things. It is us humans that are feeble and weak compared to these massive animals, these massive beings that are reproducing and multiplying in so many ways, in so many capacities, that for me, it makes me understand and realize that God is the intelligent being behind the whole operation. In Genesis, he tells us he gives us dominion, and um, he wants us to be fruitful and multiply. So, for us to be fruitful and multiply and have dominion, we have to have an intelligence to do that. And we have to have a type of intelligence that gives us dominion over strong animals. It gives us dominion over these very, very dangerous animals that walk around here. Even lions have been tamed and still are being tamed by human beings. How is that possible? Some people can explain and put science behind it, but for me personally, this is just my own personal thoughts. I believe science proves God. I do not believe science disproves God. I believe that science, that's my daughter in the background. I believe that science says God exists. When I look at the complexities of the whales, and when I look at the complexity of there's a whole marine world in the ocean, and then there's a whole world on land. How can the two coexist without ever crossing paths and um, needing one another? We do need them to a certain extent, but we are not totally reliant on them. Being land animals, we can totally live without going to the ocean. There's water sources within the earth. How can the Big Bang be responsible for water sources that come from inside the earth? How can the Malta exist and the water exists? Why does the water not consume the Malta? Who gave the earth its DNA to even have the capacity to operate within its realm of existence? Same with the ocean? Why doesn't the ocean encompass and overflow onto land? Who told the ocean to stop and stay where it should be? Like, who told the ocean, okay, don't pass the sand? There has to be an intelligent designer behind all of this. I respect people who don't believe. I respect people who do believe. I respect people who are in between. I'm just sharing my faith story and why I came to the understanding and the position where I have chosen to believe. We have a choice. God is not forcing anyone on or anything on us. Whoever encountered religion is a spirit. Whoever encountered laws and rules and just this overbearing force of you have to believe, that is not God. That is not how he operates. He gives us the opportunity to understand him. He gives us the opportunity to question him. He gave us curiosity. He gave us questions. He gave us the ability to look at him and say, God, if you are real, show yourself to me. And he also gave us the ability to ignore him. And he can show us who he is if he would like. If he would like. Or if we would like. Anybody who is interested, God will show himself to them. He is not forcing himself on you. So, having my professor question God sent me down a path to me questioning God, and God told me it's a choice. You can believe or not believe. I made the choice to believe. Having my child made me, it solidified, okay, having my first child solidified God's existence. Who told my body to produce another human being and to provide it with the nutrients to grow and develop? There had to have been an intelligent designer. So, my professor, my child, and then my background. I got to a point in life where I was so low. I was so low. My face was flat on the ground. I had nowhere to turn. I was lost. I was broken. I was shattered. I had no idea where I should go, where I should be. I was rejected. I was abandoned. I literally had nowhere to turn. I was in a homeless shelter. I was living in a car. I was sleeping at different homes. I went on this journey, this wilderness, and I was like, I can't get no lower than this. Like, this is the bottom of the barrel. Well, literally, overnight, God took me from, I would say, off the streets. That's basically what it was. But I wasn't sleeping in the streets. Thank the Lord. I had a place to lay my head, even if it was in a car or at a stranger's home. I had a place to lay my head. So he literally just took me from being a vagabond. God took me from being a nomad to giving me a home, a husband, a future, a life worth living, purpose. God basically changed my life. And after that, I said, you know what? I will not ever go back. Never, ever, ever. And so, because of that, because I decided I'm not ever going back. Yeah. Because I decided I'm not ever going back. Yeah. That's basically it. That's basically it. Yeah. So, thank you guys for hearing my story. I hope you guys were encouraged. I hope you had some kind of insight. Maybe you gained some kind of clarity. Um, I'm not trying to be like uh something I'm not. I I want I'm showing up my authentic self, and I'm showing up as the person who God has healed and delivered and set free. Not somebody who's trying to put on a show, not somebody who's trying to impress or sway or manipulate you into thinking something else. So, I'm gonna get back to my laundry.